Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our second episode of the webinar for the Taylors E-INNOFEST 2020. And our second episode is, we are talking about the art of innovation. And together with me, I have two very prominent speakers once more. Harith, the Green Carpenter, and Maharis Azman from the Makmal. Yeah, both Harith and Maharis are really, really good. I would say they are two creatures of two different worlds that swim in the same dimension of innovation, if that's not being too abstract, yeah, since it's the art of innovation today. Okay, a bit background about Mr. Harith, if you don't mind, I do the honors. He's a big advocate of sustainable crafting and living, and he owns a really cool green manufacturing facility called the Green Factory, a one of its kind sustainable manufacturing factory, and as well as running a really awesome program called the Green Hammer, guiding local communities and industry players on timber sustainability. We have here Mr. Harith. And second, of course, Mr. Maharis Azman from the Makmal, yeah, a crazy maker, creative director at the Makmal, and also a digital professional, yeah. Leader in strategic and driving creative and innovative solutions for prominent brands like Volkswagen, BMW, involved in the making of Maybank to you as well. Yes. And also a member of really cool web-related things since the 90s. So there you go, both of our really prominent speakers. Let's have here a word or two from them. From Mr. Harith first.
Hi everyone, I'm Harith. I'm also known as the Green Carpenter. So since I was 10 years old, I've been working in my father's factory. So my company is founded in 1993. We started off manufacturing of wood products for schools and government. And at that time, during school holidays, I would have to go work at the factory. So people go on holiday, I have to go work. So I used to hate it. But now I see the benefit of having that early exposure. So growing up in the industry, I've seen a lot of opportunities and problems in the industry. In 2008, I officially joined as a proper staff rather than child labor. So I noticed that the more I delve into the industry, the more I see a problem with the industry itself. Malaysia is well known in manufacturing of furniture. We are actually the top 10 manufacturer of the world. Malaysia have exported to more than 160 countries. So we are really good in manufacturing of furniture. However, we are not known to be the most eco-friendly or the most sustainable manufacturer. A lot of international perception of our wood products. We cut a lot of trees. We don't really care about the processes, and a lot of this negatively affects the perception of our product. So I decided to delve more and study more in the industry, and it's true, like there's a lot of waste being created. We don't really care about where the material comes from, and there's very little sustainable practices being done industry-wide. So that is when we started to explore what is green furniture.
That is how the Green Carpenter is born.
Yeah, I don't know what is actually green furniture. I mean, like, where do I start and all that? And we started off with using recycled wood, pellets, crates, and all that. And at that time, when I start, nobody was buying the stuff. But I continue, and 2012, there's the start of the hipster cafe boom. So that is when we started to do a lot of those furniture for the cafe industry. And as time goes by, we develop more product, we understand more, we adopt more green practices in our factory, and we formulate a sustainable manufacturing model, which we practice and we also preaching right now, and we are sharing it publicly. And we see that there's a lot of potential in green. And so far, we have exported to more than 20 countries, and we are seeing a lot of growth there. So that is why we are now passionate about promoting sustainability for businesses in Malaysia.
Wow, cool. Thank you so much. So that's a very good brief background story of where Mr. Harith being called the Green Carpenter and his journey so far in Malaysia. Yeah. All right. Next, of course, we have Maharis.
I think it's difficult to follow up from Harith's introduction. I was very deeply in tune to what he was saying. It's very interesting. But I'm Maharis. I'm from the Makmal. Basically, I like to mix things. I like to mix creativity. I like to mix technology. I like to mix design thinking, marketing strategies, and good branding. Because I believe that if you mix things together, something innovative will happen. But if you do it with purpose, you do it with good intentions, benefits will happen for people around you. So I think when we talk about technology, I think a lot of people get that kind of like the picture of like something.
There's no human
amazing,
involved.
something crazy, something dahsyat lah, gempa.
Yeah, dahsyat, yeah.
But actually, I believe that, and this is something that one of my mentor taught me years ago, that the best technology, the best innovations are things that are invisible, things that are with you, but you don't even know that it's with you. So like, whether it's your TV, whether it's your car, whether it's your computer, whether it's your laptop, or whether it's your mobile device, right? Those are all innovations. But at the same time, I think we tend to like, kind of like make it seem like it's devices, it's technology, whereas technology is actually anything. It can be like Haris working with furnitures. There's a lot of technology that comes into building things, right? And I think that where we kind of merge is that we take our disciplines, multiple disciplines, and kind of like merge it together and make something that's better. So from in a nutshell, what the Makmal is, when I left advertising to pursue the Makmal, is basically to make things better by making better things, and it can be anything. So I've been working with people in education. I've been working with engineers, actually, industrial area players. I've also been working with food professionals and sports people. So it's interesting that, from a creative point of view, from a design thinking point of view, that we can come up with something that's completely not within our little bubbles or little boxes that we are in. So I think that's where I enjoy a lot working with even design students, trying to break their mind out of the craft of making things look nice, but also try and make things better for people, because in the end, things are for people and people are using it. People have life, and I think sustainability is a huge topic that we need to delve into.
Correct. Totally agree. Like I love how you bring up the word intention. In our very first episode on business value x community value, the word intention came out a few times as well. And it's all about the intention of the individual when it comes to innovating, right? Last time there's inventing. Nowadays, people don't use the word invent or reka cipta anymore. They use innovasi, innovate. Because I believe everything is invented already, like camera, microphone, LCD screen, telephone. You just combine those things, you innovate them, that is smartphone, right? So yes. I believe that's the crowd that we are going to be talking to, the future generation of innovators. Like, they don't have to be engineer or doctor only, right? So before we jump deeper into what truly is the art of innovation, cannot be explained in a sentence, but I guess the audiences must catch the different types of messaging that we get from the experience of two-person here. So my very first question, of course, the most simple question, but yes, simple question is the hardest to answer, but I hope it's not for you guys. What is innovation and what is art in your perspectives? Harith.
Okay, the definition is broad, but I think what is important is, from my perspective, in terms
Yes.
of art or innovation, what those things are tools to solve problems, at least in terms of innovation. Art can be a tool, but it might not serve a problem, but it represents something, it showcases something. It's a form of, for me, art is a form of one, record keeping is you have letters, you have pictures and all that. So art is another form of record keeping, or an expression of that time, particular time. So you have the classic art, which represent how they live at that point of time, what is the point of view. So art can be in various different forms. And innovation is combination of things. It can be technology, it can be technique, it can be a lot of different things. There are innovation that is good, there are innovation that is bad, there are useless innovation. But nonetheless, all are innovation. But
Correct.
we
So
want
true.
to focus more on good innovation. So that is what we strive to go.
Thank you so much, Harith. Thank you for sharing your peace of mind on this. Really good tool to solve problem and the expression of time. Since we're going to spend some time to solve some problem, why not spend it artistically, right? Mr. Maharis, what do you think?
I agree. Same sentiments about innovation. I think it's context. I think if we are living in a world that we are cluttered by technology, there's a lot of like landfills of technology right now. And when we talk about innovation, it's like, how do we reuse this? How do we reuse? Like I had a project previously that we use old smartphones and turn them into like car theft, anti-car theft devices.
Wow.
Just for the sake that a lot of people change their phones every 2-3 years, and they have like many in their what drawers in their homes. And apparently in Malaysia we are the number 6 in the world of car theft or vehicle theft, and like
Wow.
so yeah. And so like so we come up with this idea that why don't you take your phone. It's a computer that is even more powerful than when I was in university. All these smartphones that were like 3, 4, 5 years ago, and we plug it into the OBD2, just kind of like prototype it, and then see how we can actually track if your car gets stolen. And then kind of like use that to find a way to solve this problem where a lot of cars get stolen and they go and disappear. But from an art point of view, coming from a branding, advertising background, it also can be something that brands can champion, because when we take something that's an invention or innovation, it may not appeal to people, but once you take it from an art perspective, when you brand it, when you give it meaning from from a people's perspective, that this is the cheapest car tracking system, because you don't actually have to buy one. You just need to repurpose your old phones, and then here's a little tool that you can make it happen. So we try to push that idea through, make it the cheapest tracking device for your car, and got a telco brand to champion it. But it's always a process, and I think that when you talk about innovation and then we talk about art, it's about merging it into one, and something that's useful, that can make things better, and another one that it's appealing, it's not boring, it's something that people will want to have in their life. Because I think when we talk about people, it's emotions, right? And this different kind of emotions, not everybody shares our same intent, our same purpose, but we need to appeal to them.
We can only capture the general us, I believe, like as people, to create something in hopes that people will say is nice. Really good context though, like how we are cluttered by tech landfill and we are the number 6 in car theft. Wow.
Yes.
That's crazy. And you always start with an
sorry, if you see the the number of vehicles get stolen per hour, it's nuts.
It's nuts. Oh my God, I'm worrying about my car right now. But hey, and another good thing.
And the worst part is, right?
Yes.
Sorry, the worst part is it actually affects more people in who drive, the Prodos and the Protons rather than the Mercedes and the BMWs. And because of human behavior, right, consumer behavior, we tend to like put more importance in having a new smartphone over, security things, So it's a bit of a irony at the same time.
Yeah, it's irony, right? The more we can carry that thing around to represent our image, the more we will tend to change and spend money to use it. And speaking of that, I caught something really nice, meaningful thing from you, the reusing part. I believe that we are all grown and bred in this society that you have to buy from A, from B, or C, right? I love how now you just said that instead of buying from A, B, or C, there is D, which is make yourself. So that's something that it's really amazing nowadays. 60 years ago, our parents, all our father and mother knows how to do DIY stuff. And then after that, 30 years later, college students can't even replace a light bulb, had to call someone from Kauting.com. And then now another 10 years later, we are bringing back this wave of DIY, using your own hands and feet again. All right. So now I have a question for you guys. What do you think that how do we develop talent to drive innovation in the global society today? How do we develop talent like yourselves? Like Harith, you're the Green Carpenter. Like, I'm sure for the past 20 years, teachers at school never heard karangan that said aku nak jadi seorang carpenter. Yeah, so come, please share a bit. How do we develop this talent to reintroduce this talent to drive the innovation in our global society?
Just to add on to what you said just now, people nowadays, there is a resurgence of learning things that requires hand, like woodworking. There's a high number of people going into woodworking, sewing, cooking, leather crafting. So there's candle making. There's so many things that is happening right now. A lot of people who previously don't have this exposure or interest to be in part of it now wants to be part of it. So you can see this in a lot of developed countries like Germany and Australia, where the so-called blue-collar work can earn more than the white-collar one. So the people who work in this industry are considered, not to say more successful, but it's an alternative career. And a lot of them now don't go to university, they do apprenticeship instead. So this is the value of doing things physically, or these are the things that is in trend right now. How long it will last, it's another issue, but this is right now what we want to focus on. And like for my industry, for example, it's known for 3D, dirty, dangerous, demeaning. So what we try to do in the Green Factory is we try to make things it's like a concept factory where we try to make it really clean. We clean it daily, and a lot of people say that our factory is really clean for a wood factory.
That's good.
And dangerous, we try to make it safe. The industry is being known to be very dangerous, but for us, we try to use system and safety and training to make it safe, use safe machine and practice safe feature around the factory. And the meaning, people see that people who work in this industry are not smart or not cool or something like that. So we have lacking talent going into the industry. However, because one of the things that we want to focus is the involvement of youth and women into the industry, we have done few things that actually been working, and we are getting a lot of 80% of our workforce are below 35 years old, and we have a lot of local people. In my industry, there is over reliance on foreign labor. So we do have foreign labor with us, but we also have more local staff with us. So it shows that local people want to work in this industry, provided that it's safe, it's designed well, and it takes care of the staff. So that is what we need to have, where more companies or more manufacturers approach this new age of manufacturing or new way of doing things, where you give more you empower your staff, you do things in a more innovative ways, and people will come, local talent will come, because the industry is growing and it's really good. So we are also paying and the salary itself is quite good, industry wide, not to say me, but the industry wants new people, intelligent people to come into the industry, and that is what the industry also needs to change to cater to the new age, the new generation.
Wow, thank you so much. Thanks a lot, Harith. Yeah, change the image, right, of the traditional like manufacturing image of in people's mind, in parents, in children, and also in the society, right? Or else they always think that once the blue collar means is kerja kotor, buruh, kerja kasar. But then, hey, you're artisans, you create, you craft, and there's another form of pride that's being held over there that people need to know. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, Harith. It's very enlightening. Mr. Maharis.
I think it's a very interesting question. I think we're living in a very interesting time. I think there's a lot of changes. And when you talk about talent, I think even from my industry, the creative industry, right? I think a lot of things are either irrelevant or has disappeared. When you talk about, media, when you talk about, and when you look at businesses, how brands are like engaging its customers, or how brands create relationships with people, it's changing. And I think when I work with my teams, I always remind them that ideas can be anything, solutions can come in different kind of ways. We need to open our minds to how we solve things, because sometimes a lot of things that we are doing is either we're putting like Panadols into a problem, where else you need proper medicines, right? And you need to really plan it out. It's not just a strategy to just wham and bam. It's about connecting in meaningful ways. So
that Panadol thing is so spot on, bro. I don't know. I can't think of a better metaphor. Okay, sorry. Continue.
So I think we're living in this very changed kind of like world right now. I mean, if you even think about digital transformation, right? If you were 2 years ago and you were to plan a digital transformation for an industry, right? You would plan it 5 years. This pandemic has shortened it to 1 year. Everything has happened so fast that just last Ideal Fitri, right? Ramadan, right? We didn't have the bazaars because of the MCO. And if you can enact something fast to solve that problem, like my wife, she runs a confinement delivery food service, which is an online business, and we immediately deployed online bazaar for Ramadan. And we tried to make sure that one of the biggest problems with bazaar is that there's a lot of food waste. So we told our customers that, hey, if you come and order from our bazaar, we have a variety of food here. We work with all these food vendors. We're trying to help them out to get a platform. But at the same time, if you order, you will get it the next day. So we pre-plan your order so that the food vendors get an order that is not, they're not overcooking for customers that may not come. So I think it's all these little things. Big changes can happen in small ways. But if we look at 2021, 2022, I hope that we can reduce those kind of like problems. And I think we need talents who are able to enact those kind of solutions in not just ways of like communications, which happens. We have to create content. We have to create communications. We need to tell people, but at the same time, create that solution.
Yeah, that's very, very, yeah. That's another enlightenment for me. Every single question, every answer I get from you guys, I'm learning new stuff here. Serious. So what you said just now, like something that's supposed to take 5 years to progress has progressed within 1 year, right? And I love how, like you said, like these are all small things, but I don't think they are small things. It's small in the beginning. Everything started small, but towards the end, you achieve something like reducing food waste. That's something huge. That's been a problem in Malaysia for the past, as long as we are called Malaysia. Our multicultural food system, all of us love food. We're all fat in a way. I'm fat, like, and
I'm fat.
we love food, but that's a good summary. Like, if you think about it, like for our dear audiences out there, like innovation doesn't have to be complicated. You just need to solve a certain blank. You just need to fill up that blank, because now that blank is taken away. No more Bazar Ramadan. Oh my God. Buka puasa macam mana? Makan apa? Makan Maggi ya. So then bring it online. Everybody knows how to use online. Anyone can think of it, but who is doing it? So I guess the people who does it are the innovators, right? We need a generation of people who dare to do it. Don't just think and sit down and watch nice videos. Huh? All right, thank you so much, Maharis. So my other question is, I love the work that both of you do. Right, I've been stalking you guys, seriously. Ever since I invited y'all for this particular webinar, I've been stalking y'all like a crazy fan.
I'm a fan of Harith.
Yeah, you're a fan of Harith, is it?
Yeah, man.
Oh man, he is. His furnitures are beautiful. Your furnitures are beautiful. Your furnitures are global, I would say. The designs are global. The designs are not too local I mean, what is local standard anyway? Let's throw that out of the window, right? Your designs are global, bro. Your designs are innovative in a way. So my next question to you, Harith, is how do you continually find new inspiration and innovation for your work? How? Like every day you have to squeeze the juice out, right? How come there's so much juice? How do you keep refilling that juice?
Just to share with you, like what's the structure of the company. So I have the Green Factory, which is the umbrella brand. So underneath it, there's HGC, which focuses on the furniture side, and we have Dapo, which focuses on homeware and kitchenware, and we have also a fashion accessory brand, which focuses on mostly youth fashion. So the way we see how we need to move forward, like this kind of thing, even though the company is 27 years, we only started doing all these things maybe 8 years ago, because we see there's a need to change the way we do things. Because previously, we are doing what everyone else is doing. We did kitchen cabinet, we did government project, we did all the things that other people are also doing. So when I come in, I decided that I want to do something different. It's more of a, not to say selfish, but I feel that I want to do something more. And when I found sustainability as a calling, I see that okay, it's more than just environment. Sustainability is a lot of different things. And the way we see sustainability is in Malaysia is quite straightforward. We always think that it's about the environment and all that. So I feel that there's need to be an education or a thing that makes people talk about it. And I found out like people in Malaysia don't really buy things because they are green. So there's a lot of green companies that says that Malaysia don't buy green. But actually, Malaysia do buy green, but it needs to have something else on top of it. So we use design. So design and sustainability works really well because people like to buy green product, doesn't matter if it's green or not. But having it being green gives it an edge. So that is why we are doing well. We focus a lot on design. And talking about design and inspiration, how we work is we try to first find the gap in the market. So for example, our Dapur homeware collection or kitchenware, before we start, there's very little manufacturer in Malaysia who does kitchenware in a scale, or at least to our scale, which is medium to high volume. Normally they are smaller scale, and they are very not brand or like packaged properly. So there is, since we work a lot with F&B, so we know there's a need for it in the market. So we develop products for it. So aside from finding gaps, the way we innovate is we incorporate culture. We try to be in a way preserving our culture. So in my case, it's the Malay culture. So we use the Malay word in our branding. We use the Malay design element into our design, and we try to share stories. So the stories is what makes the product interesting. It's not the design, it's not the how it looks, the material that you use, the coating. It's the story that it brings. Meaning, like for example, so like this one, this is actually a serving board. It's inspired by the gambos, the 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 Malay traditional guitar. Even though it's not from Malaysia, from Yaman, but it's part of our culture. So we implement it and we tell stories. And it's made from bala wood. So bala wood is a very durable wood. It's traditionally being used to make our kampung houses. So it's very strong and durable. So making things with stories are what we aspire to do, because I don't learn about my culture and art when I was at school. So I don't know much about my culture. And my thoughts are, if I don't do anything about it, my kids won't know about their culture. And I feel that I have the responsibility to at least share what we are doing and share our culture, not just to our generation or locally, but also internationally.
Thank you so much, Harith. I'm really, really touched by what you've said just now. Our culture is where everything begins. And now we're so lost in the clutter of technology and digital changing that if we don't do anything about it, we're just going to fall deeper into the pit of darkness where we are adopters of somebody else's culture, right? And I love that bala wood serving board that you make. I think next time we should have another separate podcast on sustainability and X design and to get Harith in as well. Yeah, really, really. That's another really cool subject to touch on, yeah? Okay, so for Maharis, should I yeah.
So I think it's about how we come into our role, or our some feel like it's a duty. Like to me, I feel like my involvement with web, with digital, with interactive media or advertising has always been like a duty for me, because I feel like maybe because when I was getting into the digital space, it was in late 90s. I actually came out of school and I didn't go straight to university or college. I set up my own shop. It's a skate shop. I know it's, but it was a time when entrepreneurship was a huge thing at the time. So I kind of like gambled on that, and then the recession hit. And then, that to me, the 1997, 98 Asian recession kind of opened my mind that, things things can get quite vulnerable. And I think we're also experiencing that now. that the normalcy can actually be disrupted in an instance, and you will not be prepared for it, right?
Yeah.
So when I started to delve into web stuff and multimedia, I've been working with all kinds of different people. I've even worked in an architect firm, professionally or trained by training. I'm actually a 3D modeler, animator.
Wow.
Web was like something that I kind of like geeked out on. But it's always interesting where you're working with people and you can see something physically come to happen.
Yeah.
And I think when I've been lucky in the sense that throughout my career, I've always been in a job where it didn't exist before. So like when I went into an architect firm, there wasn't a 3D visualizer before that. So I kind of like set the role in. And then when I started to, when I was in the architect firm, the architect guy came on saying that, hey, you do 3D, all these 3D models, and then you turn it into interactive kind of like experience walkthrough. And then it's like, yeah, because I love all this interactive media. And then he said, hey, you shouldn't be a jack of all trades, you just be a master of one. And then she's like, wait, let's just kind of like, the experience when it's done in a full, it makes it a little more engaging. So, I kind of like stuck to that kind of like mentality that we should just be more generalist. Yes, you can hone onto your craft, but don't allow yourself to fall into that normalcy that you're born to just do one kind of thing. So kind of like open yourself up. So I self-taught myself how to code, and it did wonders for me as an art director. So I was very untraditional kind of an art director for that. So I can, when I went into advertising, it was like always, pushing the boundaries of like what can we do in an online space, and so looking back, being a jack of all trades, I had no regrets on it because it got me far. And I think a lot more people, I believe, should also, if you don't have to like do it like how we did it, but you can do it your own way. Be your own self,
Yeah.
and just kind of like don't fall into traps of like you should be like this, you should be like that.
Yeah, it should be like this auntie's son, should be like that auntie's daughter, Like in the end of the day, they fall towards those kind of talks.
It's crazy that last time when I was getting into more and more of the web role, a lot of whether you want to say this aunties or uncles who've never heard of this job before, it's like, hey, what kind of job is there? This kind of stuff won't get you anywhere. And then I think you mentioned before that I was involved with the Maybank to You. We redesigned the Maybank to You, and it's a classic mode right now. It's 13 years ago since we built that website and handed over to the bank, and it's still being used today, 13 years
Yeah,
later.
man. I didn't know. I didn't know until Mike told. Yeah, I didn't know that I'm signing in on your creation every day.
And my wife too.
I love Maybank
I
to
was
You.
part of an agency that we worked together. I have a CD and all. So it's a very interesting process at the time because online banking was new, and we actually literally blindfolded people and asked people where would you find the login button, because at that time login buttons were like everywhere, and then a lot of people blindfoldedly went up to the top right. Then we kind of say like, okay, that's where from a UX perspective, that's where it should be, and a lot of banks actually kind of followed that. So it's quite cool.
Yeah, I guess now every single login detail is on the top right.
At the time, if you go to different banks, you'd be like at the bottom of that form, or like somewhere, So it wasn't, it's not like furniture, You need to be accustomed to it. It needs to be something that you're familiar with. And when web internet came about, there was a lot of experimentations, which is not wrong, but at the same time, when it's something that's as utility as like your bank, or something that you need to use a lot of times, let's not reinvent the wheel. Let's kind of like find something that works for people and make it better.
Yeah, works for people and continuously works for people. I guess that's the most important.
I think, can
mean,
I add a bit?
Yeah, please, please.
I think, like Maharis said, like I believe that good innovation actually sets the standard. So it demolished the previous standards and create new ones.
Hmm.
So like Nebang to you, the website is like quite good at that time, and like a lot of people like actually like those kind of thing, and it becomes the norm. Everyone does it after that. So that is where innovators need to always create, I mean, like push the boundaries. It's always about pushing the boundaries. Like for the things that we do, we try to see, okay, in the market, what are people doing? And what something small that we can change, or how can we shake it a little bit? For example, like we move adopting zero waste manufacturing. So we try to minimize our waste. For example, this serving board, when we make this, so there's um, off cut. So these are the pieces here, and this is we make it into a candle holder.
Oh.
And we have pieces here, off cut, and it becomes our phone holder. So our phone holder are now one of our best sellers. We have made thousands of it. So the innovation that we do is something simple. We just want to reduce our waste, and we managed to do it. And actually, when I share with a lot of people, those things are just logical things. It's not something that is like really techy, something that is like, okay, you have additional, just make new things. So when you do something just with a little bit of thinking, you create a standard, and now everyone will want to do the same thing, or would have an idea on how to make things better as well. And like Mari said, don't really rely on one specific area. Like for me, I focus on waste management. So we experiment with waste fabric, recycled plastic, and different kind of industry application. We've done with automotive parts as well, for hotels. So it's about getting, you're doing your stuff, but you are getting knowledge at the same time, accumulating knowledge, accumulating data, and using that data for improvement. We need to have this culture of not just copying. Copying is good, but innovating. Just add some more. Just add some more things. Like we see when, if let's say there's one kedai tom yum, you will see like a row of them, right? And they'll all be selling the same thing. So we need to create a culture where even though you're copying, because there's nothing that is haven't been created. It's always a copy of something. But the way you approach it, or the way you make it, or the way you utilize it, that makes it different. So we need to have this culture of, okay, I want to do this thing, but how can I do it slightly different and cater to different kind of market? We did furniture before. We did furniture for the hipster cafes, and after a while, because the boom is it's a boom, so a lot of people come in and make furniture as well. They make it at the back of their house, smaller workshop. So when we see there's a lot of competition there, we move towards something new. It's always about being flexible and agile. If you keep on being there, if I continue with that, then I will die, because everyone is pushing their price. Everyone is like, everyone is there. So that's why we need, at this day and age, we cannot rely on one source of income, or one source, one industry. We have to be agile. We have to prepare ourselves so that we can move. And as long as we can move, we can survive.
Very, very well said, Wei. Our forefathers can be fishermen for 20, 30 years. But nowadays, I doubt you can hold a job for more than 3 years. Like for the generation today, things change so fast, right? And it's all about being the jack of all trades, I believe, has taken over the world, and the specialized individuals out there. like how both Maharis and yourself, Haris, been talking about just now, right? I guess we can do one thing at a time, of course. Right now, I'm a host, but when I go home, I'm a father. When I go to work, I'm sometimes a builder, or I'm sometimes just a boss, just a leader, just to lead, just to motivate. But where do you accumulate all this knowledge? Different. You don't have to be pro, but you kena tahu lah sikit and all that, right? And that's what makes us as an individual unique. And I believe that's what make everybody and their creations unique, right? What you created, Maharis, what you created, Harith as well, that's what makes us unique, right? All the things we create. And everybody is equal in that sense, right? That's very, very well said. Really, really wise comments from both of you. Bringing up to that, the second question, we talk about the inspiration and how to be ever adapting to the ever-changing world of today's generation, right? Let's talk about the challenges then. What are some of the challenges that you face in your work in regards of getting inspired, or even just to innovate successfully or innovating something? What are the challenges that you face when you are doing this? Maybe Maharis can try on this first.
Okay, I think I don't think it's a problem to be inspired. I think it's I think ideas is everywhere. Everywhere.
But what are the challenges?
The challenges is always purpose.
Yeah.
I think like having a good purpose is the biggest challenge for a lot of people, because a lot of people, it takes time. I believe that your career is a journey, right? And it shouldn't be a journey where this is perfect line. It should lead you to different places, and different experiences will inspire you to have a purpose. And if at some point you act on that purpose, then your challenges will be more about making things happen and making that ideas that you have happen. So like recently, I was touched by how water and air pollution happens so oftenly, and it disrupts our life so much that I spoke to some engineers, worked with some engineers, and we went all the way up to the Department of Environment, met one of the directors there, back at my home state in Johor, and we proposed to them a way to monitor the ambient of the environment, because at that time I did my research completely out of my scope. I went through thesis and went through technology after technology, and found out that actually if you just put sensors in proximities, you can actually have a better way of monitoring those environmental pollution. Because there's a quote that says it very well. Pollution is not something that you can cure; it's incurable. But you can actually prevent it. So preventing pollution has to be our goal here, because we can't stop factories from manufacturing. What we can do is make sure that they don't over manufacture, that it would destroy our planet Earth. And I think we're actually in this very interesting space of this pandemic and whatnot, where somehow God has kind of like stopped everything.
Yeah, God tell you, hey, chill out, guys.
Yeah,
try and reflect what you've done so far.
Yeah, so I think we should take this opportunity and kind of like look at what's happening in the world, and then try and find a way where we can actually monitor it better. I think it's a bit sad that even through this pandemic we had a few water cuts because of certain people, and I feel like if you deep dive into the problem, a lot of these factories
tak boleh keluar, tak boleh mandi pula.
Kan, and then the bureaucracies behind it, it's a bit sad, because the way they test the water is they do it by by periods, and then they take samples of it and go back to the lab, and then they will test it. You know, anything can happen between then, right? And if you were to ask all these factories to install, you know, all these kind of like sensors and whatnot in their factories, hey, half of that factories are not running even legally, right? So how are you going to monitor them? So I feel like, you know, we are living in a world where, you know, just last year we were talking about going to 5G, you know. So hey, why not IoT the whole entire industrial environment area, and, you know, make sure that we can monitor it in a very transparent way, and you know, act on it fast before pollution destroys Earth.
Yeah, I wonder, like, I have a crazy idea. Just since we're talking about art of innovation, don't mind me like innovate something now, like out of thin air. People put, like, there's meter for electricity, there's meter for water. Why don't people put a meter for the longkang?
Exactly.
Correct.
That's exactly the solution.
Right. But no, just jokingly saying, like, we really as human beings, we need to resort to this kind of thing to help us deal with our own, like, you know, waste and cause everyone else problem. What do you say, like, for this, like, Harith, like, you're running a sustainable factory. What are the challenges in running a sustainable factory then?
There's a lot.
Please share.
So running a business is one thing. So being a social entrepreneur, it's running a business at the same time thinking about other things. So if running a business requires to think about 10,000 things, a social entrepreneur SE company requires to think about 20,000 things. So it's actually harder to run a social company rather than a normal company because there's a lot of variables. So the way we try to approach it is first get understanding of our industry itself and whatever things that we need to know about what we are doing. Like, for example, do you know that cutting trees are actually good for the environment? That's something that we have to delve deep into. But just to share with you, these are the things that we need to know. For example, I will the question just now. Cutting trees is good for the environment. So as we know, trees absorb carbon dioxide from the air, right? So and then it grows, and the carbon becomes the timber, and it grows. So after a while, trees don't live forever. Yeah, they cannot be 10,000 years old. Maybe some that can, but a lot cannot live that long. So if let's say the lifespan is 100 years, so it will die and like fell down, right? And when it fell, it will release carbon dioxide into the air through when it rots.
Yeah,
so
decomposing.
It carbon dioxide into the air. So we don't want carbon into the air. So that's why if we use the wood and make it into product like furniture, we trap the carbon from being released into the air. But it's that is why certification of forest management is important. You don't cut all the trees at one go. You only do selective cutting. So these are the things that we need to know and we need to understand. So when we understand more of this, then we can make better decisions. And we have process in it. That's why these 8 years I've been experimenting and formulating a sustainable manufacturing guideline, a model that we use internally, but now we are sharing to the public because we feel that this information or this knowledge is very important and needs to be shared. It's not something that we have to keep for our own because it's our competitive advantage. It's bigger than that because I'm an activist first and businessman second. So back to the question just now on
What are the
challenges.
challenges? Yeah.
The challenges is actually like Maharis said, purpose and why. Or these are the things that drives me. Like I have once thought like, okay, if I'm on my deathbed, like what would I see my life? Will I see like, because we're gonna have to work. Everyone have to work. So if let's say we are like 80, 60 years of our life, what do we do? So I feel like I want to at least see that I'm trying to make the world a better place,
Mm.
and that is what kept me going. And also the people, the community. So these are the one that we need to work with. We need to get buy-in from. Like right now, I'm trying to get buy-in from businesses, manufacturers to do sustainable manufacturing. I'm working with designers and getting buy-in from designers to work on sustainable design. A student to learn more about sustainable design. Community. So I have set up Green Design Malaysia Facebook group to discuss this kind of thing. How businesses can profit from doing green in a proper way and not just greenwashing. How designers can design product in an efficient way or sustainable way. So having a lot of this component has its own challenge, but having this component run well will help with that, the challenge or the mission that you want to achieve. So it's a catch-22 situation, but you have to make sure that you manage all these things. So it's not just managing a business.
Of course, definitely. It's managing purpose. It's managing shared purpose, I believe. Because being one person, I don't think it will go anywhere. But being in a huge group and having people who believe and share in the purpose, you will definitely go somewhere. And I totally agree. I sometimes think too, when I die, when I close my eyes, and when those flashbacks are coming back, what is it that I want to choose to see? And if we that I believe that's actually beneficial for everybody to think about, right? Especially those having midlife crisis or whatnot. Think about it. When the day you die, what do you want to see? And then you can work backwards and start making that change today, you know? That's very nice one, Harith. I'm gonna go back and think, lie down for a while, 5 minutes, and imagine I'm dead. And yeah. Jokes aside, but that's a serious thing, right?
Yes.
The great Prophet Muhammad said 1 day of self-reflection is better than 7 years of blind worshipping, right? And definitely that plays a big weight in us, right? Maharis, you have anything to add on this?
I think yes, I completely agree. It's your why. You have to always look at why you want to do something, because that inspires you into your house and your what that you create, right? But I also think that, if I have the same sentiments, as a father, I want to make sure that the future is a better place for my children, and if my purpose is to inspire the next person to have a better results of what we want to make happen, I'm happy with that. It doesn't have to end with us. It's all about passing the baton on.
Yeah, man. We are all breathing ancient air. Every breath we take is not new. We are breathing air that our great grandfathers has been breathing, right? And we're making this air more and more horrible. It's about time we do something about it, right? One final question for both of you today. Actually, two lah, can sumbat two. Quick one lah, rapid question, yeah. Where do you see yourself 10 years from now? Maybe Harith?
So when I joined the family business, I made a 100-year plan for the company. So we cut out things that we want to do, or like what might possibly be in the future that we want to be involved in. So in terms of business-wise, we want to delve deep into the sustainable manufacturing, not just manufacturing, but the whole ecosystem, meaning that the raw material, the selling, the community, the education. We want to focus more on our education and outreach program, where we share our vision and we share our knowledge. Like I cannot make 1 million table, but we need 1 million table to be made sustainably to make an impact. So that is why now we open our factory doors to everyone. So we have visitors, we have students, we have industry people, we have tourists come. Even our competitors, we tell them what kind of method that we use, the glue that we use, because we believe that it's more than of the business itself, it's about humanity. And we want to have more involvement in the educational part, because in Malaysia, in general, the younger generation, they want green product. They know sustainability. It's not the question of awareness in Malaysia anymore. The question is like, one, is it available? Is there a green cup, for example, if I want to buy? Availability is one, and affordability. So these two things are the main things that we need to tackle. We are not in the awareness stage anymore. If you ask small kids, they are more eco-friendly or green aware about green than us, our generation or the older generation.
Yes,
So
correct.
it's not about the awareness. So that is why now my activism work is more toward businesses to produce green product for the demand, and how they can do it in a way that it's proper, because sustainability is not just about material, it's a lot more than that. It's about the whole process, it's about the packaging, it's about the coating, it's about the glue, it's about the way you operate, and how you approach your business is a lot different. So we believe that we need to advocate for more of those, so that Malaysia, we can grow sustainably. And this day and age, we live in a time where we can achieve economic growth and at the same time be environmentally friendly.
Thank you, Harith. And Maharis, where do you see yourself in 10 years from now?
I think that's a very apt question for me right now, because
Yes.
For me, I kind of like embark on a new journey. So this whole 10 years forward for me is something that I look forward to in very different ways. That I like to see myself collaborating with people from different areas, and I like to see myself more into educating, more working with the people who can enact change for the country. I think for our preservation of our culture and our our homegrown brands, I think those are the things that motivate me a lot. Maybe in my previous journey, I've worked with a lot of international brands, or like at network agencies and whatnot. I think for me that was something that kind of like it's now I'm in
I don't know. You sound like you're ashamed, but I don't think you should. That's like something
no,
really legit
I'm not
that you
ashamed about
did.
it. I kind of like emotionally.
Be proud of you, man. Yeah.
I mean, like emotionally kind of like invested in this question, because it's something that brings a lot of meaning to me, because I like to see in the next 10 years, how my involvement with people, with different kind of people, maybe even like you guys, both of you, William, Harith, I would like to like see whether we can do something together, and then maybe in 10 years time we can all like be at the coffee shop and like look back today.
Definitely. That's really beautiful. I mean, Harith, please do get in contact with Maharis. He's crazy in the digital world, and Harith is crazy in the building and the crafting world. I guess 10 years, I mean, can I add on to your answer? I think 10 years from now, I'll see you, Maharis, in Harith's factory. Or maybe I'll see Harith in the Makmal together with you guys, yeah? All right, and thus I would say thank you so much to two of our really prominent speakers today. Thank you, Maharis from the Makmal, and thank you, Harith, the Green Carpenter. Definitely. Thank you, Dharma, as well. I have my really lovely assistant here today. He's invisible, yeah? He's a good innovation because he's invisible.
Thanks, Dharma.
William, you have to answer question. Got some question. Have to answer first.
Please, Please,
Wait.
come on.
No, the question is, I heard that being creative can be therapeutic.
Pardon, you heard that?
Ni the question ni, on the chat.
Oh, yes. I'm so sorry, guys. There are questions in the chat. Okay, I'll take back what I say about Dharma. All right, so first question. Right, I heard that being creative can be therapeutic. Is it for both of you? Yes, for Maharis and Harith?
For me, it's one of the most important things for me right now, because like having some creative outlet releases a lot of pressure. So I like designing things. It's one of the part of the business that is pleasurable for me.
Yeah.
So it does help with therapeutic.
Layan.
sense of things.
Yeah. Layan gila. What about you, Maharis? Maharis said yes already lah. Okay. Just another rapid question. How can we as the public help you progress in your current business? So this is like promotion time, guys. Yeah, because like it or not, I'm going to promote for you guys as well. So Maharis, how can we as public help you progress in your current business? From Joanne Lim.
I think from creative and design, product design role, I think we should be more involved with decision makings. I think if you open yourself up to like how we think from a design thinker kind of manner, how we solve problems, how we look at situations and have like out of the box kind of like ideas for it. I think a lot of businesses can benefit from it. I think, and then especially if you work, I think the best kind of like business to business kind of like relationship is always friendship. It's knowing each other, knowing that the guy who is coming up with these ideas is not just taking a brief, but he's also involved with making that brief and finding that solution together with you as the business owner, or people in the C levels of it. So I think I would like to see more design thinkers, creative people in the decision making role, so that it will benefit everyone.
Can we say that if there's any of the listeners have some wacky, crazy ideas, very innovative, they want to try, they can come and find Maharis and Harith?
All of us.
All of us. Yeah, please find all of us. You can find me as well. I can ask you some good questions.
Quite crazy as well.
Yeah, of course. All right, and I think that's it for today. Yeah, that's it for today. And thank you so much once again, ladies and gentlemen, for joining this webinar with us. With me, William, Harith, the Green Carpenter, and Maharis Azman from the Makmal. Check out their initiative for Harith Green Carpenter. Go check out his website called harithgreencarpenter.com, right? HarithGreenCarpenter.com. And of course, check out Maharis's initiative called the Makmal at themakmal.co, themakmal.co. And once again, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Harith. Thank you, Maharis. I learned so much from you guys today. It's a great honor to have you all on board. And of course, thank you so much for Taylors University for supporting us in this three series episode webinar pre-InnoFest 2020. All right. So thank you, everybody, and have a great day.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.